Tips with Toni. Tips with Toni. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Toni. Tips with Toni. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Toni. Woo.
Hello, and welcome to the Tips with Toni podcast. I'm Toni Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. Really excited for you guys to hear this next interview. It is with a friend of mine. Her name is Gina. We are virtual friends, and as you listen to the interview, you'll understand that we've actually never met in person, and we have no friends in common. We just found each other's Instagram accounts. I think I noticed that she was working on a TV show, and I was like, oh my God, you are so inspiring. I want a TV show one day. So I sent her a message, we connected, and the rest is history. So without further ado, I want you guys to enjoy this episode, but also if you are not already subscribed to the Tips with Toni podcast, please subscribe. It allows other people to find the podcast, but more importantly, it will notify you every Monday and every Wednesday the second a new episode drops, so you do not miss a beat. All right. Anyways. Hi, Gina. How are you?
Hello. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. So excited to chat with you. I feel like we connected probably around this time last year.
I think so as well.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, probably. It's been a year already.
Crazy. I think we just stumbled each other's Instagram accounts. I don't even think we know anybody mutual except on social, which is so cool. I love Instagram for that reason. I love social media for that reason.
I do too. There's so many great people out there who are just doing their thing, trying to inspire others, and it's just wonderful to be able to connect like that.
Absolutely. So what I always ask people to do when they first come on is to introduce themselves to the audience, say who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
Yes. Okay, so my name is Gina Banic. I am a life coach and transformational speaker, and my mission is to inspire people live their very best lives, but especially to love the body you're in. And the reason why I do what I do is because for the longest time in my own life, I have struggled so much with body image issues, not fully believing in myself. And that has caused me a lot of pain and heartache in my life. And I wasn't able to fully excel to the places I should have. And I had to really dig deep within myself and go, what is it that, I need to change? And then that's been a long and tough journey. But a really great journey, because there is light at the end of a long tunnel. So that's why I do the things I do.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like at some point you were feeling a little bit lost or insecure, and now you've learned how to overcome that, and you're teaching other people how to do that too, which is so powerful.
Exactly.
So powerful. Awesome. And so, but you weren't always a life coach, right? What did you do before? Or are you still currently practicing the other things?
I am. I've been working in the entertainment industry in different capacities. I was a producer and production manager for television shows, as well as a hair and makeup artist. So I've done numerous films and TV shows and also weddings, basically glamming people up and down, any place that you could imagine.
Wow. Yeah. So I think that's interesting that you used to help people look beautiful on the outside. And now you're helping people feel good on the inside. I'm curious what you learned through that experience doing makeup and making people look beautiful and feel beautiful. What kind of things did you learn from that?
I was always looking at other people, and I've worked with very famous people, and you look at them and you think that there should be no reason why they, they have millions of fans, they are rich, they are famous. Why should they have a sad day in their lives? Why should they not feel good in their own skin? And then you discover that, they have their insecurities just like the rest of us do, even though they look so perfect, right? Like we look at an image and we go, wow, this person is so perfect, or they're so talented and stuff like that. But insecurities come from, they go way back, right? I believe that insecurities are born in childhood. It's because of the way we've been raised. It's because of our environment, because of, oh, you should look more like this. You should, it's always the should. You always have to somehow fit into a specific box. You have to look a certain way. You have to always perform, right? We need to have good grades, because if you don't have good grades, you're stupid. Or, it's like always somehow trying to fit in. And if you don't fit into a specific mold, you just feel like you are not good enough or you are not worthy. And I think this happens in childhood. I've read that people's beliefs are formed by the age of 7.
Wow.
Yeah. So I read a lot about psychology and neuroscience and stuff like that. And they say that the way that a person sees themselves is fully formed by the age of 7 years old. So think about that. So go back to when you were that age. What were you thinking? What was the little 7-year-old girl thinking when she looked in the mirror or when she was walking around? Was she feeling loved? Was she feeling like she could conquer the world? Or, how was she feeling? What was her environment like? Did she even have, or he, parents that were looking after them? Because there's many people, they were, parents maybe got divorced and a grandparent had to take care of them, or some kids had no parents, or parents were alcoholics, or God knows what, right? Or simply maybe they lived in a golden castle, but the parents were too busy with their own lives and too busy working, trying to make money. So there's a nanny or no nanny. So who knows, who knows? But it's, I think it all goes way back. And so I discovered how many insecurities people have. And then, I was like, oh, okay. So they also feel a certain kind of way. And I ended up always having these incredibly deep conversations with people, and people would hug me and go, my God, Gina, thank you for this conversation, or you've put things in perspective, or whatever. And so I realized it's something that I'm doing beyond making someone look good. It was the conversation. So, yeah.
That's really, really special. And I love that you recognize that there is something special there. And now you've made a career for yourself where you're kind of transitioning. So now their outside can match their inside in a positive way. Yes. And that's very, very powerful.
Yay. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm curious, because you mentioned that you help people with their appearance, and sometimes they're not happy on the inside. And I'm wondering if you've ever noticed how that affected other, like, people in their lives, maybe relationships they were in, or, other areas like that. I think a lot of people also assume that somebody who looks good, like, is in like a happy relationship and like gets the guy or gets the girl or anything like that. And I'm curious about if you've noticed any parallels between like someone feeling insecure and being in a toxic relationship.
I think there's 1000% a parallel drawn, into the way you feel about yourself and your body and the way you show up in a relationship, right? And this goes, this is a very interesting topic, because this applies also to men a lot, right? Because you always think that I was like, I was with men that were, quite fit and stuff like that. And then you have the pressure to sort of be like, wow, this is a, very athletic guy. And, I should be looking this way, but I'm not, I am, I do sports all the time. I exercise all the time. But because I've had an eating disorder and because my weight has gone and fluctuated throughout my life, I sure don't look like a fitness model. My fitness is for my health. Right. There always is an aspect of vanity. And I think that that's something that's undeniable because I believe that everyone would want to look good, but that could mean different things to different people.
Totally.
Right? But what I've discovered is that also men, the reason why they work out so much and they want to look like Superman and all that is because they feel if they don't look that way, that women might not find them attractive. And men don't like to be rejected. Men want to be just as much desired as women want to be desired. But I think we do strange things when, we don't feel good about ourselves. And I think one thing to remember is really important when it comes to dating and relationships. You should love the body that you're in. And I know this is a statement that sounds so easy, and it's not. It really is not. And it might take years. It might take a lifetime, right? But you should never do something because you want to please someone else. You should never change your body for anyone else. If someone says to you, if your partner says to you, you should lose some weight. You know what? That's not, you got to love me the way that I am. And the way that I am might sometimes be 50 pounds heavier and sometimes 50 pounds lighter because life happens, right? Like you might have just had a baby, or you might have had some kind of crazy, you've been bedridden or something happened, or you've just been depressed for whatever reason. But no one should make you feel bad about yourself because everybody knows. We all have a mirror. We all have clothes. We know when our clothes don't fit anymore. We know what we look like. We see the pictures. Nobody is stupid. So no one should ever be in a relationship with someone who makes you feel bad about something. If you want to help me, truly help me. Go on a walk with me. Go to the gym with me, but not in the sense of like, I remember I was with someone once, and the first thing he would ask me was, because he was very much into fitness, first question was like, have you gone to the gym today? And I go, no. It's like when I work, I have long work days. Sometimes there's 12 hours a day that I work. When you're in entertainment, we work 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And sorry, no, did not make it to the gym. But thanks for asking how I'm doing,
Right, exactly.
So there's huge parallels to, relationships and our body.
All right. So one thing you said is it's easier said than done. If someone wants to start appreciating their body for what it is, what kind of tactics or tips do you have for them to start doing that today?
I would say the first key is to start accepting yourself, right? So if you are a size 18, you cannot look at yourself and think that you are a size 2, right? So you got to accept the fact. You must accept who you are and the shape that your body is in at this very moment. And you got to look at yourself and say kind things to yourself. Like that's what I started doing. I started looking in the mirror, and versus criticizing myself and going, well, look at this, belly fat over here, or like my thighs. I've always had the kind of thighs that are rubbing together. There's lots of meat there. And I was always wanted like different legs. But I've come to terms with the fact that genetically also, no matter how much I exercise, I'm always going to have big legs. Okay? Not the kind of gazelle supermodel legs, that, some very few people on the planet have. Not me. But I started to, not wish myself into another body that I will never have, but rather I was looking at myself, even naked or in underwear in the mirror, and really looked at myself and started lovingly talking to the image that I saw in the mirror and said, you know what? But you have kind of good hips there, lady. You know what I mean? Hey, how about them lady lumps? Or this is not too bad. I started seeing my good versus my bad. That was the very first step, because the negative self chatter, it's got to go.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're so conditioned to talk to ourselves negatively. Like, it's just, we don't say enough positive things. So I almost think it's like, it's so necessary to do, because otherwise our negative mind is just going to take over. It's just, we naturally go negative. So we have to intentionally then say positive things to ourselves. And I think that's a really, really helpful tip.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is like, dress according to your body, right? Like, don't wear jeans that are so freaking tight that you're reminded the whole day that you're like not, that you're not something else, right? So wear jeans that are they make lovely jeans for women. And I'm right now, by the way, just talking to people that might be a little larger or meatier, but I also want to talk to the people who feel they're too skinny, right? Because you got to love yourself too, honey. Like, that's why I'm saying, no matter what your body type is, you got to love that. Because trust and believe me, when you love yourself, others will follow. Right? So it's like a mantra. Because you start doing that, and there's so many people. And I mean, a lot of my girlfriends, like, say you go, it's summertime and it's time to go swimming. I remember for many years, like, I was so terrified of not wanting to wear a bathing suit. Like, going swimming was a terrifying experience because I just always thought, that my body wasn't great. And it wasn't true. It actually wasn't true. But it's like, it's like a regular size, curvy, like a curvy body. You know what I mean? That went through different sizes, but the shape is generally stays similar. That's how it goes for everybody, right? And it's like, again, just embrace who you are. And the thing is, once you learn how to do that, and I'm not saying this is a swift process, you have to do these things every single day. You have to write on your mirror, I love myself. I am enough. I am worthy. I would sit in the car and make I am ... statements, about 40 of them every single day. I am something great, right? So I would do that, and I would do that for months. And at first, when you start doing stuff like that, it seems like you're a little cray-cray because you sit in the car talking to yourself, but then it becomes a habit. It just becomes a habit, And also, when other people tell you you're not something great, you go back to that I am statement, and you know that you are great. You just have to know that within yourself. You can't be, thrown off your tracks just because someone else had an opinion. You know how they say everyone's got one.
Yeah, everyone's got one. I think it's interesting too that no matter how many great compliments we get, then one negative comment just sticks with us and stays with us and really bothers us and brings us down. And we so easily forget all the positive things in our lives and the way we really do view ourselves. And we give too much weight to those comments that are just we really just gotta, all right, in one ear, out the other,
Absolutely.
So those are really good points. I'm curious, in your own personal experience, I've seen this with me, and I've kind of seen it in my clients, but I'm wondering with you, I'm wondering, did you have a better view of, I guess, were you more accepting of your body and happy with where it was at when you were actually taking care of it? Like when, or did you notice that when you changed your mindset and you developed that healthy mind, then you started taking care of your body? Like, I'm wondering which came first? You accepted your body for what it was, and then you started taking care of it by eating healthy and exercising? Or if you started eating healthy and exercising and now started to look at your body in a different way? I'm curious how it worked out for you.
I think also those things kind of go hand in hand, but my story is a bit different because I've had an eating disorder, and I've had an eating disorder, meaning I was a compulsive overeater. And that means whenever there would be a negative emotion, so stress, fatigue, loneliness, sadness, I would use food. And I would use any kind of food, but mostly it would be foods that are really stuffing, right? Because you want to numb out a feeling and emotion. So it would be sandwiches, pizza, anything, lots of carbs, right? Because it feels like it feels good very temporarily in the moment. And I'm sure a lot of people know, because a lot of people do this, because it either goes one way or another. When we feel negative emotions, there's those people that are like, I can't eat. I can't eat. They might do something else. They might drink, they might smoke, they might do whatever. They might go shopping. There's all kinds of bad habits that all of us have, right? And we use something, and I say, to numb our real feelings instead of validating and really tapping into the emotion of the moment and what's really going on. It's like that running away. Let me just put a lid on it.
Oh, yeah.
Let me put a lid on it. Let me not feel what I'm feeling because I don't like this feeling of being alone.
So, oh my God, yes.
You could be in a relationship. You could be in a marriage. You could be with your parents and still feel alone and empty. And I know that a lot of people right now who are listening, this is going to hit you in the heart because this is the truth. So for me, because I've always done that, I've also always exercised. I was a dancer. My whole life I've been dancing. I can cut a rug, honey.
Oh, God. I need to, either when you come to New York or when I come to LA, we need to hang out.
It's going down. I love music and I love to dance. So therefore, my body and my exercise routine, there was always something. I was always physically active. So I was never the kind of person who's like, I'm not doing anything, except for there was a time a couple of years ago when I went through a really, really deep depression. Because for the first time in my life, and that's when I couldn't even exercise, because when you go through depression, you can't even barely walk, right? It's horrible. But I knew I needed to go through that because I needed to feel emotions that I have suppressed for so many years, and I've let them all come up. And it was brutal. It was really, really, really brutal. But I wanted to know what that is like, because normally when I feel a bad emotion, or I should say past tense, when I felt a bad emotion, I would want to just run away from it, numb it out, whichever way I could numb it out, or distract myself, or go be busy. Those busybodies out there always work, 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 work. Those people, be very careful, because you have to give yourself time to process whatever is going on in your life. Because when you don't do it, it's going to come up, right? It's like that. It's like, say you have a basketball and you're in an ocean and you're trying to shove that ball underneath the water surface. But what is going to happen? You can't do it for too long, can you? It's going to pop up. So that's exactly, I think, how it is with our true emotions. And when we suppress it, we do bad things, and we stack bad habits on top of that. So it's either eating poorly, it's the not exercising, or it's the not eating, it's the maybe anorexia, right? It's maybe bulimia, it's whatever it is. And again, to not deal with the emotions. But that's something that's really really important thing to do. But to answer your question, sorry guys, I'm such a
No, that was great. I have so many things I want to say, but go ahead.
my self-care was in my mind. My self-love was in my mind because it clicked and I realized, hey, why am I feeling bad about myself? Or what happened is like, I was in relationships and the same thing kept happening over and over again. And it was always like, I'm like, we love each other, but something isn't quite right. I was trying to prove my value. So I was always in a relationship that was not fulfilling to my needs, right? Because I didn't know how to love myself. So if I don't know how to love myself, how can someone else authentically love me when I am masking who I am?
That's powerful. Wow. Okay. So, well, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that I love your vulnerability and your openness, and it really just goes to show that, we're all human and we all have emotions, and we all go through periods of time where we feel hopeless and depressed, or we struggle with our body image, or we struggle with our eating habits, or not being motivated to exercise, or whatever it is. But when you have the right tools and resources, and when you make your mind up that you're not going to stay there anymore, you can get out. So I just hope that anybody listening, if you are struggling with any of those areas, you're not going to be there for much longer if you choose to kind of make that mental shift and get help. So I hope that, I know that people hopefully will reach out to you at the end, and I'll have all your information there, but you don't have to stay there. So I think a lot of people feel like this is their life, or this is who they are. When we go through things as a child, it becomes so conditioned, where for me, my story was very similar. I was overweight. And so therefore I had to lose weight, because if I didn't lose weight, I felt like I couldn't be loved. And so I was, constantly feeling like the answer to falling in love was like after I figured out my nutrition and my fitness. And it was like magically gonna, like, it's like, how do you convince yeah, exactly.
Moment, like,
like it's just
Aladdin or something.
Yeah, it's just crazy. We play these stories in our mind, we make this up, and we think that this is it. But there's ways out there. There's things that we can do. And it's not your story. You can get out of it. So, one thing I will just make a note of, and this is interesting because I'm not sure when I'm going to release this episode yet, but it's going to be around the time where I talk about stress management and using food to cope. And you mentioned that you use food as a coping mechanism. Yes. You also mentioned, so that's in a whole separate episode. But what I think I've alluded to before, but I've never done a full episode on it, but I really want to, is the busy bee. That was me. I worked 80, 90 hours a week. I was immersed in a relationship. And if I wasn't immersed in a relationship, I was constantly searching and looking just to date, just to keep my mind busy, because any sort of downtime, alone time, I had to all of my emotions of my body image, or all of the emotions of of my past, or not feeling at that point, I knew I had something in me that I wanted to do more. I wanted to be better. I didn't even allow that stuff to come in, because I was constantly just filling up my space and my time, and I never allowed myself to heal. Quickly, just to let everybody know that when I just experienced, I had mono and I had Epstein-Barr, I've been forced to slow down. I went from working all these crazy hours to only working for myself full time. And it's been a beautiful thing. I'm very fortunate where I don't have to kill myself every day, and I can still make a good income without having to whatever. All that to say, I've had a lot of downtime recently because of the monos kind of forced me to, and just because my lifestyle has changed. And when I tell you, this has probably been the past 6 months, have been the hardest, but the best, the most rewarding, because I go to therapy and we really work through all of it, but everything's coming up, everything from my childhood that I suppressed for so long and just always kept busy and never dealt with. And I always kind of knew it was there, but I never really went deep with it. And now that I'm finally doing that, it's I'm learning more about who I am. And I think so many of us are so afraid to get to know ourselves. And that's what we need to do. We need to get to know who we are, because if we know who we are, we can learn to love who we are. And then anybody around us is either going to love us or hate us, but we're not going to care. So it doesn't matter.
And also, well, first off, I think it's so wonderful that you're doing that work. And I think everyone should. I think everyone should go find a therapist, right? And just talk it out, air it out, whatever it is that's stuck in there. And some people may not even be aware that there is something.
Yeah.
But there is something. Trust me when I tell you there is something, because I've never met one single person who had nothing and was just happy and had a smooth sail kind of Disneyland kind of ride. It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately, right? But then again, it all makes us so connected and equals, right? So we have to work through our things. And I also want to point out that don't feel like it has anything to do with a lack of intelligence. We all are out of control at certain points in our lives. We cannot control absolutely everything in our lives. You got to know that, and you got to also accept that, right? And so when we talk about also specifically with you, fitness and nutrition, don't beat yourself up because today you've had a pizza and a slice of pie afterwards or whatever, because that's just life, right? Life is a 50-50 experience where there's good days and bad days. But whatever that bad is, it doesn't even need to be bad. It's just human. We're all humans. We're not machines. We're not, we're not robots. And so that's the only reason why I brought that up, because also myself, there was probably a good decade or 15 years or so where I just worked myself into the ground. It's not a good thing to do. That's why I didn't have time to process things. I ran away from certain things. And in your head, you think you're okay. In your head, you think you're just functioning. I've had a great career, very successful, making very good money, but I was not happy inside. I was not happy with my life because I knew something was off, but it's like you don't want to admit that to yourself, but I knew. I was like, why am I not feeling, why am I waking up not feeling the fullest joy inside of my spirit? Because that's how I want to wake up, and I'm not waking up that way, and I need to figure out how to get there. And I hope that everyone is going to fine tune into themselves. And when you wake up tomorrow, see how you feel. Do you feel joy in your heart just because the sun is shining? I get so much joy nowadays. Trust me, when I wake up and I go, it's another day. You know what I mean? Most of the days, not every day. I don't want to say life is so perfect all the time, but you know what I mean? And then I go have a little morning latte, walk my dog, look around, I actually am able to walk, which is a gift in itself. There's some people that I know they can't get up and walk, right? They have cancer, they have whatever they have. And, and I'm just like, I get to walk. Thank you, God. Yeah. I'm so fortunate.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think practicing gratitude is so powerful. So powerful. So I want to be mindful of your time. We talked about a lot of great stuff. I definitely wanted to take a moment to talk about your TV show you're working on. I know we don't have like an exact date or anything like that, but if you could just tell us more about what the TV show is going to be about and where it might be, or anything about it, I think would be really cool to learn.
Yeah, my TV show is called Gina's World. I'm so excited because the premise of the show is to help people live their very best lives, to find true love, from which starts, as we've just discussed, loving yourself from the inside to the outside, and really to love our bodies and love who we are. Right? And see all of our gifts, and for people to find their purpose in life, because all of those things come together and I believe make a happy life. So When this is going to come out, we don't know yet, because filming stuff is a very lengthy process. I want it to go onto television. That's why it's a lengthy process. But I will always keep you informed and keep you posted. We're just starting a GoFundMe campaign. So if you just follow me on my Instagram, which is it's.ginas.world, I will always keep you posted. And also DM me, send me messages, because I've also just started a podcast. I wanted to do that for the longest time. And the podcast is just going to be a quicker way to talk about things, right? To get our voices out there. So stay tuned for that, because I'm just working on my very first episode to get some of my thoughts out, which actually first episode talks about love and what that is and what that means to all of us, right? And I'm so excited to do that and to share that with all of you. And like I said, follow me, I'll follow you back. Always love to hear people's opinions, what speaks to them, what is helpful. And also, if you need a coach, I'm happy to coach you through life's ups and downs and hold your hand and, be right there with you. So just send me a message.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Gina. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I hope everyone goes to check you out and send you a message. And thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always great to chat with you.
You're welcome. Bye. Oh my God, you guys, I love these interviews so much. Do they not teach you something or inspire you or remind you? Whatever it is, I hope you found this as helpful and valuable as I did. If you did, please screenshot the episode, share it on your story, tag me, tag Gina. Let us know that what we said was helpful to you in some way. As always, thank you so much for listening. Until next time.